Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. I am Lai Shunya, and I want to begin today's video by sending my warmest greetings to each and every one of you watching from all around the world. I hope you are all having a fantastic day filled with peace, good health, and abundant joy. From the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for your continuous love, kind comments, and beautiful blessings. Your encouragement gives me the strength to wake up every morning and push through every challenge that comes my way. Today marks a very special and emotional milestone for us. It has been exactly 1 full month, 30 continuous days, since I embarked on this life-changing journey as a young mother trying to build a safe, sustainable home for my precious child from scratch in these deep, isolated mountains. Standing here today and looking back at how far we have come, my heart is overflowing with emotion. Building a life out here with minimal tools, no electricity, no running water, and zero modern conveniences is extraordinarily hard. But every single drop of sweat, every aching muscle, and every silent hardship becomes completely worth it when I hold my baby safely in my arms. As the early morning light begins to stream through the towering canopy of forest trees, the crisp, chilly air slips through the cracks of our temporary wooden shelter. In these mountains, the days start very early while the heavy mist is still clinging to the hills and floating gently over the valley floor. The very first thing I do when I open my eyes is turn around to check on my sweet baby who is sleeping soundly beside me under our simple blanket. Watching my child breathe peacefully and rest in total comfort brings an indescribable sense of warmth to my heart and instantly reignites my determination for the long day of heavy work ahead. I carefully slip out of bed without making a sound to avoid waking my baby up too early. I begin by carefully folding our light bedding and clearing our small elevated wooden sleeping platform. Cleanliness and order are essential when you live in a tight space in the wild, so I sweep the floor thoroughly with a broom made of dried branches to ensure there are no bugs or damp debris. Creating a clean, safe, and dry space for my baby to sit and play is my top daily priority. Before I step outside to start the heavy physical chores, the morning cold in this mountain altitude sets in, fast and can be quite harsh on a small child. Because of this, my immediate task every morning is to gather enough fuel to keep our fireplace burning and to prepare for cooking our meals throughout the day. Before I head into the surrounding dense wilderness, I carefully secure my baby into a comfortable cloth carrier strapped tightly across my chest and back. With our rustic earth and clay hearth fully structured, smoothed down, and stabilized, I move on to the delicate process of lighting the fire that will warm our shelter and nourish us for the rest of the morning. I carefully gather tiny dry twigs, shredded bark, and brittle bamboo leaves to craft a soft, breathable fire starter nest inside the stone base. Striking a match, I protect the tiny flame with my hand against the cool mountain breeze, placing it gently underneath the dry kindling and blowing soft, steady breaths until a bright, warm flame catches onto the larger wooden logs. Watching the dense blue wood smoke rise gracefully up toward the tree canopy brings an instant feeling of home, comfort, and deep gratitude to this solitary campsite. Now that the fire is crackling continuously and generating a steady heat, I grab my heavy wooden bucket and make my way down the winding dirt path toward the natural mountain spring flowing through the valley. The hike down to the water source is steep and slippery, but the air around the stream is incredibly fresh and peaceful. This natural spring water flows directly out of the rocky mountain crevices, completely pure, ice cold, and crystal clear. I submerge my wooden container into the flowing stream, watching it fill up with pristine water that will be used for both cooking our food and washing our fresh mountain produce. Carrying the heavy bucket of spring water back up the steep incline to our shelter takes physical strength, but once I am back, I immediately begin preparing our morning meal. Today's food comes straight from nature's pantry, consisting of freshly harvested wild bamboo shoots and leafy green vegetables that I carefully forage from the surrounding slopes. Sitting beside the crackling fire, I wash each vegetable thoroughly in the cool spring water, removing every trace of dirt and wild residue to ensure everything is clean and safe for us to consume. Cooking over an open, crackling fire requires absolute patience, continuous attention, and skilled heat management. I place a heavy metal pot filled with fresh spring water and white rice directly over the red-hot embers supported by the flat stones. As the water begins to bubble rapidly and thick steam billows out into the cool air, I focus on slicing the mountain greens with calm, steady precision on a wooden block. Once the rice is tender, I mix in the fresh wild vegetables and season the dish with a touch of crushed chili paste for extra flavor. In these quiet moments of cooking, surrounded by the rhythmic crackle of burning logs and the gentle rustle of forest leaves, all my lingering stress, fatigue, and uncertainties melt away, replaced by deep inner calm. Just as the hot meal finishes cooking and rests on the warm embers, my baby wakes up from a cozy morning nap, letting out a soft murmur, followed by a bright, heartwarming smile. In that exact second, all the physical exhaustion, aching muscles, and heavy burdens of living out here completely evaporate. I immediately step away from the cooking area, wash my hands thoroughly with fresh spring water, and lift my little one into a tight, warm embrace, holding my child close to my heart. We sit together on our elevated wooden porch, enjoying the peaceful morning atmosphere as the forest comes alive around us. I take my time gently feeding my baby warm, fresh food spoonful by spoonful, wiping away tiny spills from their chin and sharing quiet, loving laughs together. After eating, we spend time playing with simple, smooth toys I hand-carved out of polished bamboo sticks. Looking into those shining, innocent eyes, I am constantly reminded of my true motivation. As this humble shelter made of bamboo and tarps might look simple, but it is built upon an unbreakable foundation of unconditional motherly love, strength, and unwavering devotion. Morning routine and waking up in the mountains. As the early morning light begins to stream through the towering canopy of forest trees, the crisp, chilly air slips through the cracks of our temporary wooden shelter. In these mountains, the days start very early while the heavy mist is still clinging to the hills and floating gently over the valley floor. The very first thing I do when I open my eyes is turn around to check on my sweet baby who is sleeping soundly beside me under our simple blanket. Watching my child breathe peacefully and rest in total comfort brings an indescribable sense of warmth to my heart and instantly reignites my determination. For the long day of heavy work ahead, I carefully slip out of bed without making a sound to avoid waking my baby up too early. After our peaceful morning meal and spending those precious quiet moments together, my baby rests comfortably and safely in a cushioned woven basket placed near the gentle heat of the warm hearth, allowing me to shift my full focus back to essential construction, structural repairs, and shelter reinforcement. Living up here in these high mountain elevations means that the weather is completely unpredictable, as a clear and beautiful morning can easily transform within a matter of minutes into heavy rainstorms, dense freezing fog, and harsh, biting mountain winds that sweep violently through the valley. Because of these harsh realities, maintaining, weatherproofing, and constantly improving our small home is a non-stop, daily battle that requires intense physical labor, unending patience, and absolute focus. Especially when you're building everything entirely by hand with basic tools and no modern machinery. I begin today's shelter work by selecting several thick, mature bamboo stalks from the large pile I cut down and hauled back from the wilderness earlier in the morning. With steady, practiced hands and a heavy blade, I start the painstaking process of splitting these thick, fibrous bamboo logs straight down the center into long, thin, flexible wooden strips. Using the sharp edge of my knife with extreme care, I meticulously trim away the rough splinters and smooth out every rough edge so they are soft and completely safe to handle without injury. Once I've prepared dozens of these flexible bamboo strips, I begin weaving them tightly over and under each other in a dense crisscross pattern to build strong, durable woven panels. I take these handmade bamboo panels and firmly install them along the sides of our hut, carefully securing them to seal up the wide gaps in our wooden walls. This tightly woven bamboo barrier acts as a vital protective shield for us, effectively blocking cold mountain drafts and keeping wind-driven moisture from seeping into our sleeping space during the dark, freezing night hours. After completing the lower wall sections, I noticed several structural gaps near the upper frame that still allow cool mountain breezes to leak inside. I take additional smaller bamboo sticks and weave them through the structural supports, double layering the section to create an airtight seal against the elements. Once the walls are solidly reinforced and completely secure, I gather my tools, rope, and supplies to climb onto the outer timber framework of our roof so that I can address our crucial waterproofing needs before the heavy afternoon clouds roll in over the peaks. Working elevated high off the ground while balancing carefully on slick, rounded bamboo poles demands total focus, tremendous physical strength, and incredibly steady footing. I unroll our heavy, durable, waterproof tops and stretch them tightly across the entire thatched roof structure, pulling with all my strength to make sure there are no loose folds, wrinkles, or sagging areas where heavy rainwater could pool and eventually leak through into our living quarters. I anchor every corner, edge, and seam securely using tough wild vines and strong cordage, pulling each knot as tight as humanly possible against the solid wooden frame, to ensure that sudden, powerful mountain windstorms cannot catch under the edges of the tops and tear them away from the structure. I place long, heavy bamboo logs horizontally directly across the top of the tarps, tying them down tightly at every single joint, pole, and intersection. Working under the bright sun while tying dozens of tight knots high up on the roof structure takes a heavy physical toll, making my shoulders ache and my hands sore, but I refuse to slow down until every inch of our roof is completely sealed and stormproof. Every single strip I weave, every knot I tie, and every timber beam I reinforce brings us one step closer to turning this fragile temporary shelter into a truly safe, dry, warm, and unbreakable sanctuary for my small family. By the time the heavy physical labor on the roof and walls is finally finished, the sun is high in the sky, casting a warm golden light over our small mountain clearing. I step back onto the ground, wiping the sweat from my forehead, and take a long, quiet pause to breathe deeply, look around, and reflect upon everything that has been accomplished over this past month. 30 days ago, we stood in this exact spot surrounded by thick, untamed wilderness with nothing but raw nature around us, but today, through continuous effort, unwavering determination, and daily hard work, we have a sturdy wooden shelter, a fully functional earth and clay hearth, a clean source of fresh mountain spring water, and a cozy, safe sleeping area for my baby. A profound sense of pride, emotional relief, and deep gratitude fills my heart as I realize just how much resilience, capability, and inner strength a mother can summon when driven by pure love, devotion, and necessity. Building a life completely from scratch as a young mother in the wild is filled with endless hardships, exhausting physical strain, and continuous unpredictability. But with patience, hard work, determination, and your incredible continuous support, every single struggle is transformed into a beautiful story of hope, independence, warmth, and survival. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for walking this long road with us, for sending your sweet prayers and encouraging words, and for being such an important part of our daily life. And I cannot wait to share our next chapter with you all in the very next video. The morning routine and waking up in the mountains. As the early morning light begins to stream through the towering canopy of forest trees, the crisp, chilly air slips through the cracks of our temporary wooden shelter. In these mountains, the days start very early while the heavy mist is still clinging to the hills and floating gently over the valley floor. The very first thing I do when I open my eyes is turn around to check on my sweet baby, who is sleeping soundly beside me under our simple blanket. Watching my child breathe peacefully and rest in total comfort brings an indescribable sense of warmth to my heart and instantly reignites my determination for the long day of heavy work ahead. I carefully slip out of bed without making a sound to avoid waking my baby up too early. I begin by carefully folding our light bedding and clearing our small elevated wooden sleeping platform. Cleanliness and order are essential when you live in a tight space in the wild, so I sweep the floor thoroughly with a broom made of dried branches to ensure there are no bugs or damp debris. Creating a clean, safe, and dry space for my baby to sit and play is my top daily priority before I step outside to start the heavy physical chores. Gathering wood and survival prep in the wilderness. The morning cold in this mountain altitude sets in fast and can be quite harsh on a small child. Because of this, my immediate task every morning is to gather enough fuel to keep our fireplace burning and to prepare for cooking our meals throughout the day. Before I head into the surrounding dense wilderness, I carefully secure my baby into a comfortable cloth. Of a single mother, building a life in the wild is filled with endless hardships and daily battles. But with hard work, patience, unwavering faith, and your incredible continuous support step by step, we are turning every single difficulty into a story of resilience, hope, and survival. Thank you so much for walking this path with us, and I look forward to sharing the next chapter.